Good day everyone, welcome back to our channel, Edutainment Solution. Today we'll be treating another paper 1 from May-June 2023. I know you'll be wondering which another paper 1 are we still talking about. Of course, in May-June we have 3 papers, both the short answer and data response, and at the same time we also have 3 papers for the theories. I know we are done with the first paper 1 and paper 2. Now this is the second paper 1 for May-June 2023. This is also a short answer and data response. As I said earlier, this place you were just to identify, outline with little explanation. Now let's go to the question. Let's go to the question. We have our question 1 here. FBW manufactures watches using job production. It employs 5 full-time production employees. Each worker is offered regular training. Last year, FBW sold 600 watches. The managing director plans to use break-even analysis to help decide whether to increase the price of its product. FW's current break-even chart is shown in figure 1.1. As you can all see, this is our break-even chart for FBW's watches. Now let's scroll down to see what is underneath. We have the question 1A. We're told to identify 2 reasons why a business might offer training to its employees. Why do you think training is important to a business while given their employee? Of course, the first important reason a business might offer training to its employees is to improve productivity or efficiency. Now let us find the first written out. We were told to just identify here. To do what? To improve productivities, to improve productivity or what? Or efficiency. Now, what another reason do you think a business will have in order to offer training to their employee? Is also to introduce a new process into their production. Let's try to add the second reason also. The second reason is to what? To introduce a new process in their production. To introduce a new what? A new process in their production. Now that is the 2 reasons we were told to mention. Of course, we still have other reasons as to increase the output, to increase the employee skills and knowledge also. Now moving to question 1B. We have to calculate the following value using figure 1.1. Now let's go back to this figure 1.1 which tells us about the current break-even chart. We were told to calculate the break-even output and the break-even revenue. As we all know, to know our break-even output or our break-even revenue is where our total revenue is equals to our total cost. Here now, to get our break-even output, we have to check this where we have the intercept of total revenue and total cost. Downward here, we will get our break-even output here, and this is exactly 500 watches. Now let us put that and we come back for our break-even revenue. So our break-even outputs as it is in our chart is what? It is 500 what? 500 watches. That's on break-even output. Now to get our break-even revenue also, from the intersection to your left, in order to know the revenue, here we have the what? We have the $60,000. We have the $60,000. Now let's put it also in its space. Break even revenue. Break even revenue. We have it to be what? To be $60,000. $60,000. Now we have answered this question 1B like that. Now we move to the next question here. Outline two possible effects on FBW's break-even chart if the prices of its products are increased. What are the possible effects on FBW's break-even chart if their price increase? Let's see here in the chart, assuming the price, when we have the price to be what? We have the price here to be 80,000, or in this total revenue we have it to be 100,000. What if the price increase to 120,000? What do you think can be the effect to FBW's what? Break-even chart. Of course, the first one is it will reduce the break-even output below what? Below the 500 units in the appendix given above. Let's try to write the point out to fill out the space. We are asked to outline it and we have 4 marks to it. For you to attain your 4 marks, you have to use the application of the appendix. Now here we have to put the text. It will reduce what? It will reduce break-even, to reduce break-even output below what? Below 500 units, according to the break-even output we got earlier. Now that is just an outline of it will reduce the break-even output below 500 units. To reduce the break-even output below 500 units. You have to use the application in order to have your own full mark. Moving to the effect 2. What do you think the increase in the price can also be on break-even chart? On break-even chart. Another effect that we can have on an increased price on our break-even output is what? What do you think can also be another effect when there is increase in price? Of course, it will also increase the revenue from the sales of each watch. When the price is increased, of course, the revenue will also be increased. Let us try and put the text here in the effect 2. As I told you earlier, this paper one is just a short answer and data response. It's supposed to be in objective form, but this is not in an objective form. So you are just to give a short answer without wasting your time, and make sure you apply necessary application. That is, increase what? It will increase, it will lead to an increase in the revenue from sales of its watch. Don't forget, this watches is an application of the appendix given. Make sure you are using the appendix given and the appropriate, that is appropriate for the question. We also have more. Should I just put it here in order to fill the blank space? But we're just to outline only two before we can have our full mark. We have two, we have increased profit margin. Of course, as I said, it will increase the revenue from sales of the watches. And when it increases the revenue, of course, it will also do what? It will also increase the profit margin. It will also increase the what? The profit margin. Yes. Now, after outlining the two, of course, those are not, we were told to outline two, and I just did three. Now, what other possible effects do you think the increase in price will have on the break-even chart that we have above here? What do you think? Of course, it can also increase the contribution per unit when they are using job production. Now let's move to the next question here. We have question 1D. We were told to explain the benefit to FBW of having full-time what? Of having full-time employees. Of having full-time employee. What is the first point or the first advantages to FBW of having a full-time worker? Of course, the employee will be easier to communicate with. Let us put our benefits one to be what? Easy to communicate with the employee. Easy to communicate with the employee. That is the first benefit of having what? Of having a full-time worker. Then how does that serve as an advantage in order to have our full mark? Of course, let's try to apply the application here. Let's try to apply the application. Let's put our test under the explanation. Of course, to attain your full mark, after bringing out the points, you have to put your explanation also as the space is provided. That is, workers will be more efficient. Workers will be more efficient when making the watches if they are easily communicated with. If they are easily communicated with. Now, that is just a little communicated. That is just a workers. Now, that is just a little brief explanation on one benefit of a full-time worker. Of course, a full-time worker consistently standard of work is also part of the benefit of having a full-time worker. Now let's try to put the it leads to, it gives room for consistency of standard of work. How do we put it? How do you think we should write this? It helps in consistent what? Consistent standard of work. Now, how does this serve as an advantage or benefit in a consistent standard of work? Let's try and drag up to give our explanation. Now, of course, a consistency in the standard of work will lead to a better reputation. Consistency of the full-time workers will lead to what? Will lead to a better reputation, that will help the company by using job production. Let's try to drag this to fit in this space. Now we have other benefits. It allows employees to become more familiar with the business also when you employ full time, and employee will be always available whenever you need them rather than using a part-time workers. Now we move to question 1E here. Do you think job production is the best method for a small business to use? Well, we have to justify our answer here. Of course, for you to justify, you have to tell them what point job production do, and in other way around what batch production also do, and justify your answer based on the production. Now let's start with the job production here. Let's start with the job production. Let's say we have the job production. Let's put our job production somewhere here. Let's put it somewhere here to differentiate between the points we want to bring out. Of course, in job production, customer requirement will be met. That is just first point of using job production to produce good. Job production, it helps to meet what? To meet customers' requirements. It helps to meet customer requirements, and this increase customer loyalty and also automatically increase sales. Now let's pick another point here. Of course, when a job production is being used, a unique quality product will be produced. Okay, let's try and put it here also. A unique what? A unique and quality product will be produced by using what? By using job production method. By using job production method. That's another point of using job production. They're using a job production method. Either way, okay, let's try and reduce this. Okay, another point is the products can be made to order, but it will take a long time to make. That is just a limitation of using the job production. Let's try and write the point here also, and let's pick some points on batch production too. It will what? It took a long time to make what? To make a unique, let's use a unique product, and this will do what? It will cause low output, which leads to what? It leads to low output. Of course, when you are not making goods on time, it can actually lead to lower in what we are actually producing, led to lower output. Now, that is the point we point out in job production. Now let's look for batch production here. Also, let's check for batch production. Let's try for batch production. For batch production, batch production. Now, by using batch method of production, a company can produce varieties of products. That is, range of products can be produced. Yes, varieties, let's say varieties of products can be produced by using batch production method. Another point is being able to produce more. When using batch production method, we'll be able to produce what? We'll be able to produce more as possible. Able to produce more possible. Able to produce more products. And when producing more products, which will what? It will do what? It will make the unit cost to be lower, which lower the cost. It will lower the cost per unit, able to produce more products. Let's try to reduce it, because we are still going to give our conclusion based on the question. Of course, we have to justify our answer. We have to justify our answer after bringing out the point. Now, it can also demotivate worker, which will increase labor turnover. Now, looking to this job production and batch production, how can you justify your answer in using job production and using batch production? For my own side, I think job production is the best method for a business, because it is small as the number of sales maybe cover the additional cost of the labor. Now let's try to put this out. Let's try to put this out. By using job production method, cost of producing goods will be what? Will be cost. While using batch, it will lower the cost. Now, using job production method, using job production method, using production method, customers demand will be met, but leads to high cost. It will lead to high cost. But using what? Using batch production method, using batch production method, using batch production method, an average what? The cost of producing large products will be lower rather than using job production method. Here now, to justify your answer, I think using job production is not the best way for the company to produce their product. Now, let us move to the next question. The next question, we have question 2 here, which have little appendix above. Gloria is a sole trader. Of course, a one-man business. Our business provides house cleaning service. Gloria uses telephone calls to communicate with her 4 employees. Okay, Gloria has 4 employees. She wants to expand the business by offering a repair service. Okay, Gloria plans to carry out some market research. She has been told producing a business plan can help to reduce risk. Okay, Gloria would also like to reduce her workload and is considering taking on a business partner. Now, the short question here is, identify 2 ways a business plan can help a business to reduce risk. Why do you think a business need a business plan? How? In which way can this reduce risk? Of course, what do you think can be the ways? Which ways are you thinking? Of course, it's help to set the goal of the business. Now, that is the first and the foremost business plan in reducing risk. To set what? To set goals. You can use goals, or you can also use an objective. The sense of directions. Yes, that's the first way to identify. Now, another way is to help secure funding or to attract investors. Yes. Okay, let's try to write the second way also. That is the way a business plan can help a business to reduce risk. Okay, to help secure or during what? Or attract investors. Now, let us drag this. There are still many ways, but we are just told to identify 2 here. It helps to monitor, check the progress of the business. Business plan also help to set suitable price for the product. Now, question 2B here, we also have to identify here also. Identify 2 possible reasons why a business might want to Expand. I think we have been coming across this type of question. You should have memorized this by now. There are a lot of reasons. Now the first one is to do what? I can see you remember the reason why business might need to expand. The first one is what? To increase sales and revenue. To do what? To increase sales or what? Or revenue. You got it right. The first one is what? I can't hear you. To increase their profit. Of course, when there is an increase in the sales, there will also be an increase in profit. To do what? To increase profit also. And other, I can see you are mentioning more. Of course, there are more to it: to increase output, market share, reputation, and so on. Now let us move to question 2C. 2C, the question says, outline one advantage and one disadvantage to Gloria of using what? Of using telephone call as a method of communication with her employee. What is the advantage of using telephone call by Gloria? What do you think can be the advantages? Of course, the first one is what? For quick to contact. It provides quick communication. Let's put it here. We have to. Let's put it here. It provides what? Quick. It provides quick contact. It provides quick what? Quick contact. Yes. Contact with what? You have to apply the appendix. Don't forget. Contact with are for employees. That's your outline. Employees. Yes, employees. Using telephone to communicate with employee, we provide quick and instant contact with the four employee. Of course, we also have leaving the message with voice notes. Can talk to employees anywhere by using the telephone. Now let's move to the disadvantages. One of the disadvantages of using this phone call by Gloria to communicate with her employee is the technical problem. Technical what? Technical problem. Technical problem. And this technical problem might include what? Technical problem which includes internet connection, internet connection, and this will actually reduce our workload. Yes, of course, one of the disadvantages that we also have is that when the receiver will not answer the phone, or the receiver might be busy at work. Now let us move to the next question. Here we have question 2D. Explain two factors Gloria should consider when deciding whether to take on a business partner. What factor do you think Gloria should consider when taking business partner? Of course, Gloria will have to share responsibility of the business, that is the cleaning service. Now let us try to bring let us try the factor should be somewhere around here. Okay. Sharing of what? Sharing of responsibility. Now you have to give your explanation too. You have to give your explanation too, because there is space for your explanation here. There's space for the explanation here too. She will have to share management control. You have to share management control of the cleaning service. And when that occur, of course, this can cause conflicts most of the time. That is one of the factor. Now let us look at one more factor before we mention other factors that we have. Now, another factor is what? I can see you are about to mention someone. Access to finance or capital. Yes, that is right. Access to what? Access to finance or capital. Okay. Access to what? Access to finance or capital. Of course, while Gloria is considering taking in a partner, the business can grow faster when the capital is being contributed by the two partners in the business. It helps the business to do what? To grow faster, and make it easier to expand, since the capital is being contributed also by the new intake partner. The business, yes. That is just a short explanation on the point also. Now let us move to the next question we have underneath here. We have question 2E. Explain two methods of primary research a business could use to find out the demand for a new product or service. I can see you remember what those primary market research. Of course, we have questionnaire, survey, online survey, interview, focus group, and more. Which one do you want us to discuss out of those mentioned? Now, let us look at poster questionnaire first. Let us see what we can get from poster questionnaire. Okay? Poster questionnaire. Poster questionnaire. Yes, poster questionnaire. What do you think we can get from this by using poster questionnaire? Of course, detailed information can be gathered. Let's try and put this here. Maybe we just choose two methods as required by the question. Now, the tests on poster questionnaire just pick 2 or 3 points on each method before we justify our answer. Detailed what? detailed information can be gathered by using what? By using poster questionnaire. Detailed, that's the first one. Of course, another one is by allowing many people to be asked at the same time. It what? It allows many people to be asked at the same time. Of course, when using poster questionnaire, it is easily for you to distribute the questionnaire at the same time. Now let's move to another one. Of course, I'm choosing focus group here. I'm choosing focus group. I know you still have another point also. As I mentioned, we have online survey, we still have a lot more. Okay, focus. We still have focus groups. We have focus group. When using focus group, what are the points? How can you make your primary research using focus group? Of course, here also highly detailed response can also be gathered. By using focus group, you will have a detailed response. Highly what? Highly detailed response. Highly detailed response will also be gathered. Yes, highly detailed response will also be gathered. And by using this, you have the chance to ask follow-up question. Let's try to put it out also as we are explaining. Let's try and type it out so you can see the text even if you have to watch the video. Yes, it gives chance to do what? It gives chance to ask follow up what? Follow up questions. Now, of course, it gives a chance to ask follow up question. Of course, it is expensive though, and it is time consuming. And this focus group can only ask a few people, unlike this poster questionnaire that allow many people to be asked at the same time. Now, how can we justify our answer based on these two methods that we choose? Now, let's just type out and give little explanation based on the two. Using questionnaire, using questionnaire method, it allows many people to be asked the same question. Of course, at the same time, you can ask the same question since the questionnaire is printed. And the other option, and for focus group that we choose, and for focus group, it might be better because of what? It might be better because it provide highly detailed responses. Of course, it provides highly detailed responses, though fewer people might be asked questions. Okay, let's leave our conclusion based on this. And let's continue with the next question. Let's continue with the next question. Here we have question 3. FIFIA, okay, that's another company, I think. FIFIA is a business based in country X. It manufactures school backpacks, bags, okay. FIFIA uses retailer as its channel of distribution. The managing director knows there are many factors that can affect demand, including the stages of the business cycle and how competitive the market is. FIFIA imports 45% of its raw materials. The managing director is worried that the introduction of import tariffs and import quotas, as well as the appreciation in country X exchange rate, will affect FIFIA. Now, this is a small appendix given to us for question 3. Okay, now let's see our question 3A. Define import tariff. Of course, you should have heard this before. Now, how do you define this in order to get your full 2 mark here? I can see you are trying to define the import tariff. Okay, don't worry. We will define it together now. An import tariff, an import what? An import tariff is defined as what? I can see what you are defining. Okay, what are you defining? Is a tax. Is a tax. Tax on what? Tax on imported. Tax on imported goods. Should we leave it like that? Of course, no. You will only have 1 mark if you leave it like this. When they arrive into a country. Now you are good to go. You will have your full 2 mark. You can also define it as a specific form of tax imposed on imported goods. You will still have your 2 mark. Now, that is that on the definition for import tariff. Now, for question 3B, identify 2 reasons why some markets can become more competitive. Why do you think some markets will become more competitive? That they will also have a lot of people selling the same product as theirs. Of course, the first one that should come to your mind is what? Globalization. Yes, the first one that should come to your mind is globalization. Having business in another country or in another place, expanding your business is what? Globalization, or what? Or free trade. That is the first reason. Another reason is what? Increase in competitors. When there is an increase in the when there is an increase in competitor for a product, of course, the market will also be more competitive. Increase in what? Increase in competitors. Now, we have identified 2 reasons. Do you think that's the only 2 reasons we have? Of course, no. It can be because of the improvements in transport or infrastructure, or the new legal control also. Now, let's move to the next question here, which is question 3C. We are told to state the 4 stages of the business cycle. I can see you remember that. Of course, just state it and you will have your full mark. What's your own first stage? Okay, I can see what you are mentioning. Just let me type it out for you. I will help you do that, okay? The first one is what? Growth, that is growth, or we should use economic growth stage. Let's try and put our own stage, okay? Second one is what? Boom stage, okay? I can see you understand this business cycle, okay? Boom what? Boom stage. And the third one is what? Is what? Slump stage, okay? Let's try and put it out also, okay? Slump, and you can also call it depression stage. Slump or what? Slump or depression stage. And the fourth one is what? You can say it's recession. Okay, you are good to go after mentioning this. For you can now move to the next question. Okay, we have the recession stage. Now that's our 4 stages in business cycle. Now let's move to the next question here. Move to the next question here. We move to question 3D. Explain one possible effect of the following changes on FIFA when importing raw materials. As you can see, we have the introduction of import quota in the country X and the appreciation of country X exchange rate. Now, we have to explain one possible effect that you think the introduction of an import quotas can cause on the importing raw materials of FIFA. What comes to your mind? Of course, introducing an import quota will reduce the amount of the import. It will reduce the amount of the material imported. Okay, reduction. Let's put it in form. It will lead to reduction in the amount of imports. Now, after bringing out this, you have to put your explanation as I always mentioned. And don't forget the application of the appendix given. Before we start this, I show it to you. Okay, now to give our explanation for reduction of the amount of import. Of course, reduction in the amount, let's try to write it out. Reduction in the amount of import of 45% of the raw materials will also reduce, it will reduce what? It will reduce the output. It will also reduce the output. So they will need to find more what? More suppliers. A reduction. Okay, let's drag this. Now, this is one reason. Of course, we also have a lot of reasons as lower production, fewer imports that is possible when there is introduction of import quotas. Now, the effect of this appreciation of country X exchange rate. What do you think can be the effect Of course, when there is an appreciation in the exchange rate, the import will become cheaper. Now, it will become cheaper. I think you are getting it right now, okay? Import will be what? Import will become cheaper. Import will become cheaper. Let's say the import will become cheaper. Let's put the two explanation here to have our full mark. Okay? Of course, when the import become cheaper, what do you think will happen to FIFIA material also? Of course, import that is cheaper, we also do what? We also reduce FIFIA's cost of its school bags. Of course, that is what is dealing with of its school bags. When the import is cheaper, FIFIA might, yes, cheaper import, we'll try to construct it for us, okay? Cheaper import will also reduce the FIFIA cost of its school bag, and it will tend to import more. Now we move to the question 3E. Do you think retailers are, according to the appendix, are the best channel of distribution for a manufacturing business to use? Justify your answer. Of course, we have wide medium of communication. We have the retailer, we have the wholesalers, but we are told to justify based on the retailers here. But let's choose two. Let's choose retailer first. Retailer, okay. Why do you think retailer should be the best channel of distribution to use by a manufacturing company? What function does a retailer perform first? Of course, it by using retailer here, it helps to offer wide what? It will help to offer wide distribution. Let's try something here. By using retailer channel, by using retailer channel, it will do what? It will help by using retailer channel, goods, let's say goods can be sold in what? In different location. Of course, when you are using retailer that is selling in small quantity, of course, retailer gets their own goods from the manufacturers or the wholesalers. You can actually get this directly from the wholesalers or the manufacturer themselves. What other point do you think by using retailer for the channel of distribution can be the best to use? Of course, they can also sell in large quantity, which leads to their own higher sales also. Let's type to write it out also. They can also You can also sell in high what? You can also sell in large quantity rather, yes, in large quantity, which leads to higher sales. Now that is another point. Of course, there are many points by using retailers. Also, let's try to pick one point also that might be a disadvantage of using retailer. Now, here manufacturer must pay delivery fee. Of course, they will pay delivery fee when using retail when using the retailer as their channel manufacturer. Yes, demand delivery fee. Now, before we can justify our answer based on this retailer point, we have to know how the wholesalers can also be used by the manufacturers. Now let's try to put just 2 points for the wholesaler before we can justify our answer. We have the wholesalers. Of course, we know that wholesalers buys in bulk and what? And large amount. Okay. Wholesalers do what? Their function. Wholesalers buys in bulk. Or you can use large amount. And by buying in bulk or in large amounts, we do what? It will save storage space for the manufacturers. Let's try and put this out also, because that's also a point. The point. Yes. Using wholesale channel, let's put it that way. Using wholesale channel saves times, no, not time, I mentioned space, right? Yes. It saves storage or space for the manufacturer. Now, let's try to reduce this and put little justification to what we have just mentioned. Let's put little justification here. Of course, as we mentioned earlier, that retailer provide wide distribution. Retailer provide what? Provide wide distribution across what? Across many locations. And this can actually what? Let's try to minimize the text here. Okay. Retailers provide wide distribution which can help in sales or selling directly to customer or consumer. Seeing this, you will also know that the retailer is better in this channel because it will help the manufacturer in attaining their high sales, and this will also do what? It will increase their total revenue, but it may lower their profit margin as retailer may took time in selling the product. Now we have done some justification to this. Let's move to the next question. Here we have question 4. Question 4 here, we also have one small appendix here. CPF is a clothing retailer. Okay, we are dealing with retailer here also. It is a private limited company. It has 4 shops and 30 employees. The finance director is concerned about the amount of current assets because working capital is important. Okay, the amount of retained profit is also low. CPS directors are planning to expand the business by opening a new shop. Why are these business interested in expanding their business? A suitable source of long-term finance will need to be identified. The plan to expand will affect many of CPF stakeholders groups. Now to the question here. They said we should define retained profit. How do you define your retained profit? Can you define that for me? Can you define? Of course, let us define retained profit. Let's define retained profit. Retained profit can be defined. It can be defined. Okay, I can see you are defining it already. As the profit left, okay, or the profit reinvested back into the business. Is that all? Of course, no. After all payments have been made. That's the correct definition for retained profit. If you give partial definition, you will not get your 2 mark. Now let's move to question 4B. Wow, this question says we should define current assets. What do you understand by current assets? Okay, let's give the definition for current assets also. I can see you all know what current asset is. Okay, current asset. Okay, current asset. What do we have for our current asset? It is the resources that a business owns and do what? And expect to convert to cash before the next date for the statement of financial position. For the statement before the next date for the statement of what? Of the financial position. You can also have your own definition either way. You can say items that belong to the business and can be used within 1 year. We are still saying the same thing. You will still get your full mark if you define it as I just defined now. Now moving to question 4C. Outline 2 possible reasons why working capital is important for CPA. Why do you think working capital is important for this business? What are you mentioning? Okay, to pay day-to-day expenses. Now let us write it out. I can see you are following me. Working capital. Okay, let's try and put it in an outline way. Working capital is important to CPF in order to do what? In order to pay its day-to-day expenses. In order to pay day-to-day expenses. Like what? Like paying wages to its 30 employees. Paying wages to its 30, let's add it for application. Okay, like paying wages to its what? 30 employees. Yes, we have given an outline for the first reason, employees. For the first reason. Now the second reason is what? I can see you are giving me the reason. Okay, to pay for unexpected expenses. Okay, let's try and write this out also. To pay for what? To pay for to pay for unexpected expenses. Now, an unexpected expenses as what? As what? As emergency, especially when the business is looking to expand. When the business is looking to expand, working capital might be very, very important to CPF. Of course, that is not all. We also have coping with the seasonal demand also, so they might also need capital for that. Now let's move to the next question here. We have 4D. Question 4D says we should explain one ways of the following stakeholder groups might be affected by CPF plan to expand their business. Why do you think the employees might be affected by CPF's plan when they want to expand their business? Okay, for employee, how do you think it will affect them? Of course, it will give them an opportunity for promotion. Okay, opportunity it will give the employees an opportunity for promotion, to give them an opportunity for promotion. That is one of the reasons the expansion might affect the employee. And how does this opportunity for promotion also help the employee? We have to put our application also. You have to put our application also. Okay, so that they will be able to benefit. They will be able to benefit from higher wages. Of course, the 30 employees will be able to benefit from higher wages when there is an opportunity for production. What other reason do you think it might be an effect for an employee? Of course, they might be working extra hours because the new shop will gain extra payment also. Now now, for the suppliers, let's try and fill the space also. When expanding the business, of course, additional orders will be asking for by the business. There will be let's say there will be an additional order or sales. They will produce more when the business is expanding, and we need their service. Now, to put the explanation here, you can write it as additional sales or order will lead to what? Will lead to additional revenue. It leads to additional revenue, which will automatically lead to an increase in profits. Additional sales or orders will also lead to additional revenue. Orders, yes, orders here. Now let's move to the next question here. Of course, that is not the only benefit to suppliers. Also, they may struggle to meet extra demand too when the expansion is too large. Now we move to question 4E. Do you think it is better for a private limited company to use debt, e.g. like a loan or equity, issuing more share as a source of long-term finance? Justify your answer. To answer this question now, it is classified into two. Is it better to use debt or issuing more shares? Now let's go for the debt first. The debts. Okay, before we can justify our answer, let's consider the points when using debt. Of course, when using debt by the private limited company, what do you think it can be a relevant point under this debt? It will be difficult for them to raise additional finance because of what? They will be concerned repay their loan. It may be difficult, to raise additional finance. Of course, it will be difficult for them to raise additional finance as there is debt for them to pay. And also here they can receive all money at once at the same time. This money that they borrowed that serve as a debt to them can be received. It can be received at once or at the same time. Of course, and when this is being received at once, it could actually be used for whatever purpose it is meant for without any delay in the usage. Yes, and this also they have to pay interest. They have to pay interest, and this paying they have to pay interest, and paying this interest will do what? Will automatically increase their cost. Now let's choose some points under issuing of shares also, and see which way it is better for the private limited company to use. By issuing shares or what? Or equity. Issuing shares or equity. Okay. By issuing share to the public, of course, they have no interest to pay. That is just one of the benefits of using this issuing of share for the private limited company. No interest to pay, so there is no extra cash outflow. Now, another one is that the issuing share is a permanent source of capital, so there is no need to repay anyone or be concerned about any debt. It is a what? It is a permanent source of capital. Let's look at one more also, and let's look at it in the way of a limitation too of using this issuing share also. Of course, by issuing this share, the company will have dividend to pay, so they will have less retained profit. The company will have dividend to pay, which will actually reduce their retained profit. Now, after all, we have listed the possible points, though that is not all, but we just pick the one we are going to use to justify this. Now we are going to justify our points based on what we have listed above. How is debt better, and how the issuing of share is better. Now let us put the justification somewhere around here. Let's put the justification here. Using debt, using debt, let's see the statements above here. Using debt to do what? Using debt for private limited company, okay. Using debt for private limited company will make it difficult for them to raise additional finance, as we mentioned. For a private limited company, let's use a private limited company, it makes it difficult to raise an additional finance. As I explained, they will be concerned on how to repay the debt finance. And let's choose the equity also, the issuing of shares. Equity is better because it's also better because of what? Because of what do you think equity is better? Equity is better because there is no need to be concerned about any repayment of debt. Yes, let's leave our conclusion to be this based on the two. Okay, let's try to move this up. Now I think we do not have any question here. We have blank space. This brings us to the end of the second paper 1 of MayJune, as I said earlier in this video. Now to see more of our video, kindly like, share and subscribe to our channel www.Edubbey Dynamic Solutions. See you in the next class. Bye.